morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, June 30th, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London. It's 12:30 in Hamilton, Bermuda, and in Mexico City it's 9:30 in the morning. If you need to reach us during the show, call in toll-free from the U.S. at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. We'll just go through a couple of names that have popped up today before we get to the main news. There's a lot of it today. Ed Liddy, the CEO of AIG, said this morning at the company's annual meeting that American International Group stands an excellent chance of repaying the federal government the entire multi-billion-dollar bailout amount advanced by the American taxpayer. Also in Germany, Wilhelm Zeller has retired on schedule as the CEO of Hanover Re. Steve Jobs at Apple Computer was reported back at work yesterday at the Cupertino, California Apple campus. And we're not going to go into too much on this scoundrel, but Bernie Madoff was sentenced yesterday to 150 years in jail. And if you punch him up on Google News, the lead story will be Madoff to rot in jail. Good riddance. Now to our main news. A bad day, another airplane crash, another Airbus. This was an A310-300 crashed into the sea off the coast of Africa, killing 153 people. The plane belonged to Yemenia Airline, the national airline of the country of Yemen. The A330 which crashed into the Atlantic on June 1st, belonged to Air France. That crash is going to have a preliminary report Thursday of this week. Thus far, the only survivor of the 153 people pulled from the sea is an infant. The crash occurred as the aircraft approached the Indian Ocean archipelago of Comoros in bad weather earlier today. The French Transportation Ministry said that faults had been detected during inspections in France in 2007 on the Yemenia Airline A310 that crashed, and that it had not flown in France since. According to the French, quote, the A310 in question was inspected in 2007, and we noticed a certain number of faults. Yemenia Airlines was not on the blacklist, but was subjected to stricter checks on our part, and was due to be interviewed shortly by the European Union Safety Committee. The French are saying that 66 of their citizens were on board the plane, which was taking the final leg of a flight from Paris and Marseille to Comoros via Yemen. The route of the plane is a little bit sketchy at the moment, but this is what we have. The flight began in a Paris airport last night when an A330-200 took off from Marseille and then on to the Yemeni capital of Sanya. In Sanya, passengers changed to an A310 and departed for Comoros via Djibouti. So that means that the plane did take off from the Yemeni's capital. It did land as scheduled in Djibouti, and it took off then heading further south, and that's where it crashed. Airbus said that the crash plane was made in 1990 and has been operated by Yemenia since 1999. The plane has accumulated about 52,000 flight hours on over 17,000 flights. According to information coming from the insurance industry, global insurer ACE is understood to lead the cover for the insurance policy on the Yemenis Airway Flight 626. HSBC insurance brokers brokered the policy, and the loss adjuster appointed to investigate the incident is GAB Robbins. The plane is thought to have an insured hull value of $34 million. However, liability losses as a result of the crash could be much higher. In Italy, a freight train derailed and plowed into houses in a small Italian town of Viareggio. It set off an explosion and it killed at least 16 people, many of them as they slept. The 14-car train was traveling from the northern city of La Spezia to Pisa when the last car derailed and crashed into a residential neighborhood. The car, unfortunately, was filled with liquefied natural gas, which is virtually a bomb-like material. It exploded, it blew up 5 buildings, and set fire to a vast area. The exact death toll is unclear, as hundreds of rescuers are searching through the rubble as we speak. The Lloyd's insurer Catlin is understood to be the leader on the liability reinsurance program for the train operator, the Italian train operator, which is Ferrovie dello Stato. Generali is the primary insurer for Ferrovie, with the reinsurance program placed in the London market led by Catlin was broke by Willis. It's understood that most of the excess liability layers are also written in Lloyd's. Meanwhile, in the U.S. in Atlanta yesterday, a four-story parking garage collapsed. Emergency workers were searching the rubble of the collapsed parking lot this morning to see if anyone is trapped inside. The search through the wreckage of the collapse last night was halted when the building shifted. At least 35 cars had been caught in the collapse. Rescuers from several Atlanta area fire departments resumed working their way down through the four pancake floors earlier this morning using thermal cameras. The deck collapsed from the fourth floor down to the first floor around lunchtime yesterday in a busy commercial district downtown. What caused the 7-year-old structure to collapse is not immediately known. Atlanta-based Hardin Construction was the GC on the deck. They were also one of 3 companies working on the Atlanta Botanical Garden, when a pedestrian bridge collapsed last year, killing 1 worker. Hardin said that the majority of the deck work was done by a subcontractor called Metromont Corporation based in Greenville, South Carolina. And down in Nigeria, the oil giant Royal Dutch Shell said that it has shut down operations in the Niger Delta completely after repeated attacks from militants. This despite an amnesty offer extended to the militants by the government of Nigeria. The main militant group in the region, the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta, MEND, has rejected the amnesty, saying it did not address the root cause of the crisis. In a statement today, MEND said that it struck Shell, the Forcados offshore platform in the Delta state. Quote, Cluster 11 and 30 are currently on fire after a massive explosion. Shell has confirmed that the attack targeted 2 well clusters in the western Niger Delta region. They've said that we've shut down production as a precautionary measure while further investigations are continuing. Meanwhile, in China, we'll pull up this map. This is the Asia earthquake map for the last 24 hours. You should be concerned with the 2 orange squares in the middle in China. Another moderate earthquake jolted southwest China's Sichuan province this afternoon, according to the Chinese news agency. This was a 5.0. It struck the area between Xifang and Mianzhou at about 3:22 p.m. local time. Earlier today, a 5.6 quake hit Mianzhou at about 2:03 a.m., damaged about 8,000 homes in the area. No other reports of injuries have been reported. In the U.S., consumer confidence slid a little bit, according to a government announcement this morning. However, the prices of home declines continues to moderate a little bit, so that's good news, but the stock market is down about 108 points, this after a small gain yesterday. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity.
Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation. Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes Aon.